when it says transforming formulas, that just seems to be making them look different. See if this makes any heads or tails, tends to. There's a couple popular formulas out there. Anybody know any mathematical formulas? Well, let's look at one. For example, the circumference of a circle equals circumference. I'll find a place for this right. Circumference equals what? Pi.
Times diameter.
Find a place for this right. Circumference. Circumference equals pi times diameter, right?
C.
Okay. With that formula there, Gabby Behrens, you can transform it or change it to solve for any of these letters. It's already solved for C, but I could change this. Let's say I wanted to know how to find the diameter of a circle. Well, if I want to get rid of, if I have this formula, C equals pi times D, and I want to get the letter D by itself, what do I have to get rid of? The pi. And how do I get rid of a multiplying pi? I do the opposite and divide by pi. So I would do this. The pi's go away, but what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I've now changed the formula to solve for D, and the diameter equals the circumference of a circle divided by pi. Or, if I wanted to solve for pi, same formula there, Sam Poppin, don't lose me now. If I want to know how to find pi, what do I have to get rid of over here if I'm solving this for pi?
Diameter.
The diameter. How do I do that? I divide by the diameter, and I divide by the diameter. So pi equals circumference divided by diameter. Okay, so any formula. Maybe the formula is this. Distance equals rate times time. What other letters could I solve for there? Well, I could solve for time. If I asked you to solve this for time, what would you do? Divide by the rate, because you want the rate to go away, divide by the rate. Time equals distance you travel divided by the rate you're going. Which makes sense. If you're traveling at 100 miles an hour, at your rate, you go 200 miles. How long is it going to take you to go 200 miles if you're going 100 miles every hour? 2 hours. What if I wanted to solve this for rate? If I have distance equals rate times time, and I wanted to solve it for the letter R, it's a matter of just doing what?
Divide by time.
Divide by the time. Divide by the time. So rate equals distance over time, which is true because we usually talk about rate as being how many miles distance over how much time, hour, miles per hour. And you can do that with anything. Let me see if we got a tougher problem here. Sure. Area equals pi r squared, which is a circle. Area equals pi r squared. Ooh, they don't ask us to solve that for r, do they? Let me look and see. They do. Which isn't so bad because we've talked about this. We spent a whole 15, 20 minutes, one class doing this. Okay, if I wanted to solve this for the letter r, what do I have to get rid of first? Pi. So I divide by pi. So now I'm left with this. I'm left with r squared equals area divided by pi. Now turning the Wayback Machine's way back to when we talked about this. If I have r squared equals any number, what does r equal? It's the square root of that thing. So even though it won't make a lot of sense to you, but this is really what it is. R equals the square root of a over pi. And that is true. The radius, if you knew the area of a circle and you know what pi is, you can always figure out what the radius is. You just have to take a square there. Kendall?
What are these formulas for?
Well, they're first so that you can figure out, you're not always, if you're given Let me look at another one here. If you're giving the area of a rectangle is length times width, okay? The question a book might ask you is, if the area of a rectangle is 30 and its width is 3, what's its length? Now mind you, this is an easy one and you'd say, well, I can do that in my head, but not always is it going to be that way. What am I looking for in this? I'm looking for the length. So in order to find the length in this formula, what do I have to get rid of? The W and divide by W. So length is going to equal the area divided by the width. So you have the area here, which is 3, or 30, and the width, which is 3. And what is the length going to be? 10 divided by 3. Wow. 10 divided by 3. I wonder if I move that bar. 10 divided by 3 is, or 30 divided by 10. In other words, this is a simple one, but later on in your mathematical careers, you will be given very difficult, well, here's one. How about this one? What formula is this? Theorem.
Here we go.
What if I asked you to solve this for B? I'll give you a second. You tell me what B equals in this formula. Well, you can't say you don't have a clue unless you try. Try it first and then say you don't have a clue. In other words, I want to get the letter B by itself. What do I have to get rid of? It's not a hard question. You can't be done quite yet, I don't think.
Well, you have to divide letters.
You've been dividing letters.
I don't get it.
What does B equal? It actually would mean you'd probably have to do some calculating. As hard as that might be for some people. Sam Poppin.
B equals the square root of A to the square root of A over the square root of C.
You're close but not quite. I like the square roots, but you kind of went astray in somewhere. What couldn't check? There you go. In other words, Sam, I don't know why you divided to get rid of this a squared, but to get rid of the a squared, you just subtract it over. You only divide when it's multiplication. This is addition. So your first step was, let me write it down here. Your first step should have been to subtract a squared, which means you end up minus a squared over here. So now I have b squared equals c squared minus a squared. And again, I spent hours on this before. If I have b squared equaling something, what does b equal? It's square root. So b would equal the square root of c squared minus a squared. Okay, and I suppose that's my fault because we didn't do any addition ones here. Everything we were doing was multiplication, but this is an addition one. So, what if I asked you to solve this for c?
Just do the line in the waiting, but.
That one you should be able to do in your head. What does c equal?
Square root of A
I am so smart.
Not only are you smart, but it looks good.
It will get on your resume.
All right, how about one more? P perimeter equals side A plus B plus C. If I gave you that and asked you to solve for the letter A, solve for A. Solve for A. This one really couldn't get too much easier.
Why is so hard?
confusing.
This one isn't even confusing to me.
That's because you're like Albert Einstein's brother or something.
It's not hard, it's just confusing.
This one's neither hard nor confusing.
It's both, don't call Mr. Hunt.
Yeah.
If you just follow the simple rules here.
I don't know.
Games. A equals,
P minus in parentheses B plus C.
What?
yeah, but you don't need that parenthesis there. Yours is perfectly fine, but to get A by itself, you just have to subtract B. And you just have to subtract C. A equals P minus B minus C.
Wait,
Oh.
it's not A.
Again, remember, when moving things over, you just do the opposite. If it's
Disappeared.
adding B, you subtract B. If it's adding C, you subtract C.
Wow.
So where's the